3ds Max is a great platform. It has a very, very wide offering, as many of you know, and so many plugins available. Um, and it has so many kind of open ends that you can tap into. You can write your own tools. There's so many tools available. It's used in so many different industries: architecture, games, visual effects, design, etc. It's very, very flexible. And here we have Thinking Particles. Thinking Particles is, as I've said before, it's an extremely flexible tool. One of the biggest boosts for Thinking Particles, in my opinion, was when Cebas very wisely decided to open up TP scripted operators. And this would allow artists and programmers to create their own tools inside Thinking Particles. We'll show you some of those later. Thinking Particles has continued to grow over time, and it offers such a wide variety now. Version 6 introduces incredible new features. I can't talk about them all, but you know, things like smoke and fluid and lots of other top secret things that are going to show up that you are going to love. So the future for Thinking Particles is great. The sun is shining brightly, and so it's an excellent tool to learn how to use. It has enabled me and so many other great artists to work on so many fun projects. And you know, really, in my opinion, one of the best things is, again, it's flexibility. You can, and it really depends on you. Depends on how you build things. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. Anyway, TP is really visual art logic. If you haven't, I'm sure most of you have seen the TP UI. You probably use TP already. And so you know it's all about wiring things together and building up kind of steps of logic to achieve something. Why it works well? Well, I think we've covered that. How to get the most out of it? Well, use it a lot and try new things. Try to really learn and understand each part of it, especially the specifics of what is it really doing. We'll take a look at that when we get into TP and the Max UI here in a little bit. How we approach shots. Approaching shots is it follows, I think, a fairly standard process where you have a storyboard or an image or a goal in mind, and you have to begin to think about how am I going to achieve that. I usually prefer to just start with a common explanation, you know, in basic terms, in basic steps. What do I want to do? I've got a gun that's pointed towards something, and I want to be able to control the gunfire in a certain way, and when the bullets hit something, it should cause some sparks. Those sparks should react in a certain way and live for a certain time. So, you know, approaching shots, it's really just kind of analyzing what you want to get done. All right, so the evolution of shots and TP setups. As you work on some bigger shots, your system will evolve, and from time to time, you'll have to do some housekeeping to trim out old things and to keep things clean. We'll talk about some ways, some good approaches for that. And then there, yeah, you know, housekeeping. Housekeeping is very important. You need to try to keep a clean system moving forward that's easy to understand. And if you're working in a team, you really want to have some kind of agreed upon principles for agreed upon principles about just basic things that you will do, like group names are kind of a big deal. Dynamic sets and which dynamic sets you're going to cache, how you sorry, getting distracted here. Yeah, which dynamic sets you cache, how you structure things so that if someone else has to pick up your file, they will be able to, take over that system and continue the shot. So, here I have artist workflows. Every artist I've met works differently. And there are some common, themes between them. And really the cool thing is, as you work with a team for a long time, like, a couple years, you see the ideas kind of spreading and merging between people. Artist workflows are also what I call a danger. There are what I would honestly call bad habits. And there are things we can do to avoid those bad habits that are pretty easy to do, and it makes life better for everyone. One of the big things is keeping things clean and organized. If your TP system has too many connections and too many wires going all over the place, it can become very confusing. A lot of my coworkers probably think I am too simple in how I build things. But I find that it's easier to debug that way, and I have very strict control over each step. One of the other big things is common libraries and methods. Having presets for certain systems will save you so much time. Having a gunfire setup, having a building destruction setup, having a sparks setup, a fire setup. Once you build a good setup, you want to be able to continue using it and sharing that with your team. And thinkingParticles is great with that because of the black boxes.